Every day, almost on a daily basis, you hear of the NDLEA apprehending people on account of illicit drug trafficking and even what you call it now, substance abuse. And so we would need to, as a nation, be deliberate about handling this, strengthening the prevention of, drug abuse. To discuss with me this morning, I have joining me Councillor Rita Bassi. She is the PRO, Counseling Association of Nigeria, COSAN, the FCT chapter. Her area of specialization is in abusive counseling and human development mentoring. I also have Ochwi Augustine, who is also known as Councillor Austin. He is a member of COSAN FCT chapter. His area of specialization is mental health and psychosocial support amongst young people. Now, joining me in this conversation, you too can be a part of it. Feel free to jump in when we open up the phone lines and share thoughts and perspectives with us on 090-9705-4450. That is 090-73. I'll take that again. 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. You can send SMS and WhatsApp messages to 090-9705-4450. Good morning, Councillor Rita, and good morning, Councillor Augustine. Good to have you join us this morning.
Good morning, Henacho.
Yes.
Very good to be here.
Absolutely.
Good morning, our audience.
We're glad to have you.
Good morning, Mr. Henacho. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're
Good
glad
morning,
you're
audience.
Here. Let's get to the conversation. So, drug abuse, substance abuse. There's a lot that we have to talk about on this subject. Councillor Rita, let's start with you. What do you think is, for those who do not understand what substance abuse or drug abuse is, help us understand it. What is drug abuse?
Drug abuse or substance abuse, whatever name you call it, there is an abuse inside. So it means you taking something that is more than necessary to your body. Something that is not supposed to be part of your body, and you take it. Something that your body system cannot withstand. And this thing has an after effect on your health, on your psychosocial life, on your mental health, on your physical health, and your all-round well-being. So I'm breaking it so simple so that even a layman can understand. So I'm not adding so much grammar in it.
Yes.
Because I want everybody to understand is drug abuse is an epidemic in the world, and Nigeria especially, because in every home you see at least one person is abusing drug or substance, one way or the other.
That's quite serious because looking at the statistics, by the United Nations, about 14.3 million Nigerians between the ages of 15 and 64 abuse drugs, and that's quite alarming. Over 14% of our population are hooked on one drug or one substance or the other that they abuse. Augustine, what do you think this prevalent in this part of our world? A lot of crime and criminality has been linked to, drug abuse. Why do we have this, this alarming number, this alarming rate of drug abuse, especially people between 15 and 64? You would wonder why a person that old would be hooked on drugs, or why a person that young would be hooked on drugs.
Well, you see, in this country we are currently, a lot of people are going through a lot of things that they feel that it is only in drugs they find solace in. And in Nigeria today, we see a lot of parents who need parenting who still don't understand what parenting is. They allow their words to go out without even proper supervision as a parent. And when they come back, you see that what these children learn from outside, you don't know as a parent. Some of them get involved in illicit drugs through friends. Some of them learn it from their parents at home. Some of them, because you remember I said parent needs parenting. Some parents who take some of these substances do it right in front of their kids. And they grow up with this habit and thinking that drug abuse is substance abuse is something that is normal. Sometimes they even go as far as, when they don't see this drug, they go as far as getting into crime. That's why you see drug is always been linked to crime. So when you don't see a drug, a substance abuser, when you see him in search of drug, he or she can go to any lengths to get these drugs. They can go as far as stealing, killing, maiming, all this crime in the society just to get what? Just to get drugs. Some even get to the point of selling properties worth millions of naira just to take drugs. You can see, let me give you an instance. Someone who has an iPhone 14 will go as far as selling that iPhone for like 5,000 naira just to take drugs for that instant gratification because he's been used to these substances. So how do we get, how can this person not get into crime when they are already used to this substance? They are already addictive to this substance. Substance can be very addictive. Some goes to the extent of abusing the most commonest of things that we think, like the household utensils, kitchen items, condiments we use to cook. Some go as far as abusing them. Like you see people going as far as abusing Maggi, this normal Maggi we cook in the house, seasoning,
for cooking.
yes, for cooking.
How's that possible?
It's very possible. These are practical aspects. It's not something I'm just sitting here just to tell you. These are things that I told you. I'm a psychosocial. I'm a counselor, a psychosocial support professional
For young
so
people,
for young people. So you see, when you interact with them, you get to understand that people go as far as, you know, solution, the one they use to mend tires. They go as far as abusing that. People go as far as sniffing the latrine, that's the local toilet, or the sockaway, to just get high. These are some of the issues we have, burning issues in this country. It is not only just about substance abuse. Maybe we are talking about cocaine, heroin, Indian hemp, and the host of other things. Some go as far as abusing paracetamol. When you take something that is not being prescribed, or you take overdose of everything, you see cough syrup, they do it overdose. So these are some of the burning issues. And when they don't have money to go for these higher drugs, they look for the one within them. They can go as far as killing people just to get. Yesterday, someone was telling me that a friend just started behaving abnormally. All of a sudden, what happened? Because this person does not have, the parents are no longer that's together. So the only thing this person was comfortable with was to run to find solace in drugs, because he feels that, oh, at the end of the day, when I feel high, I don't get to bother about these whole issues. But the question is, after the whole thing, after that few minutes or 1 hour of the drug break, what happened? You come back to face reality. The best option to do is to seek help, professional help. That's why we have counselors, we have mental health professionals around. And counseling has come to stay in Nigeria. It's not something that is coming today and then tomorrow you will not see them again. They are already, we have private, yeah, we have private practitioners, counselors, professionally trained. And the Constitution of Nigeria is backing them up. So we have people in the private sectors, we have those in school who are like, if you are a drug addict and you are in school and you're struggling for how to come out of this illicit substance abuse, what do you have to do? Just walk up to your counseling units. Some schools, they call it student support units. So, like, these are ages, when you say 15 to and above, these are ages where they are school children. Some of them start doing drugs as early as 10. Because I was in one part in Abuja, yeah, Kuba to be precise. And I went for aerobics, and I saw a young girl between the age of 10 to 15 was smoking weed. The question was, I walked up to this girl, I said, why are you doing this to yourself? She said, my daddy do it, my mommy do it. So it is normal. There's nothing that will make me stop it, because even if I try to stop it, I'll still go back to the same house where I will find myself doing the same thing. So what do we do? It's still voiced back to the family.
Now, I like that family angle that you brought in, because when you mentioned that some parents need parenting, some parents need parenting themselves. Now, looking at this, you mentioned that you know schools have support units and all that, but in the larger society, we have people who grew up without education, who do not have some of them do not even know their parents, right? So they left to grow up in motor parks and all of those kinds of places. For those kinds of people, what help is available? Because we have a lot of them who, I mean, some of them grew up not even knowing there was anything wrong with what they do. For some people, traditionally, they grew up knowing that, oh, smoking is normal. I mean, in their community, people at all ages smoke, irrespective of gender and all of that stuff. So they grew up in that, kind of setting. What kind of help is available for those people?
Okay, you see, in counseling, Nigeria, as I said, they have been the professional association, that is the CASON as a whole, has been very, very proactive about trying to help people who abuse substances. Sometimes that's why this awareness is very important. That's why we're here, to create this awareness, because someone in motor park is listening to a radio. Maybe it might not be his car, but passing and hearing someone saying something about drug, and maybe this person has been struggling with this addiction, trying to see how he or she can come out. This is part of the awareness program. And at some point, I know how many times I have volunteered to support young people who don't have the finances to seek professional help. I've been doing that privately. And a lot of other counselors are there who can do it pro bono. Just like lawyers do pro bono cases, counselors also do pro bono cases when you know these issues are very there. These are the aspects counselors have come in this society, and in Nigeria, to be precise.
Councillor Richard, do we have hospitals and general hospitals like we have, what do you call it now, mental health units in the hospitals? Can people go there to seek help for, drug and substance abuse as well?
Yes, there are some hospitals, but in the course of this preparing for this discussion, do you know, I just found out that I didn't see anyone in Abuja.
The general hospitals
As
in Abuja?
in general hospital, there are some section that you go for mental health care. I was looking for addictive center where you can easily walk into and get help. I didn't see anyone. All the ones I saw was in Lagos and other states. But I think NDLEA, they are doing a lot of that. But my question also is, how much are they really doing about the awareness? Because Counseling Association of Nigeria is actually there for collaboration. In counseling, we have a lot of professionals, just like my colleague has said, that into this. It's either abusive or drugs or any other mental health, psychosocial issues. So the government actually really need to collaborate with us, because we are there, and we're supposed to be a center where people can easily walk in and get help from. Being that we are being organized by the government, we've been legalized and all that, the bill has been passed and all that. Where is government coming in to collaborate with us so that we work together in solving this problem? You asked a question about the community, the motor parks, where people may not even listen to radio right now. How can they get help? What about those children that they born in the streets, and the street got them? What I mean by street got them, these drug traffickers and all these abusers got them, and they now use them as tools to achieve their aim. They just see that that's how life is. So how do we get there? So we really need the support of the government for us to go there. There are a lot of private practitioners that are doing it on a very little scale. How much can we do if there is no as in recognized support from the government to, like, okay, we are going to social community and the government back us up. What am I back us up? Both financially and moral support. We go there and create more awareness than coming out here. You see what it took us to come out here, and even the schools. Right now, as I'm talking to you, most almost all the school in FCT or in Nigeria, because our president, national president, actually key into this. So it will be going around all over Nigeria to create this awareness. So Cancer Association of Nigeria, this is just the best way we can really create it, in the point that people key into it and the government key into it and make the world a better place. I deal with a lot of drug addicts. As in, some of them, you see young boys, young girls carrying bottle water. And we just feel, oh, they love drinking water. What is inside the content of the water? Some of them come to this Zobo, as in carrying the Zobo bottle. What is the content of the Zobo, so-called Zobo that is there, or Coke? So they have diversified so many means so that you can't see them. There is this case that I had in the school, that the boy was a very intelligent boy. Before you know it, started being so down, mentally down. When he immediately get to school and he start drinking that his water, he just start being drowsy and start sleeping. It was a concern to the school management. So they like called me, what is the problem here? I was like, so how is, I tried to find out how's his history, how is his behavior like. They said when he comes, he like drinking water a lot. I said, okay, but what kind of water? What is inside the water? They just said, you don't know. Okay, can you just check the content of that water? Can you try to maybe do a check of all the flask and all that? Let's see what the content. Do you know, at the end of the day, the content of the so-called water was drugged. The child was, who drugged this child? We don't know. This was a child of about 15 years old. Do you understand? So a lot of work to be done in the field. We can't do it alone. We need the government support.
Well, the theme for this year is people first, stop stigma and discrimination.
Yes,
so what we've seen over time is that when people get hooked on drugs, even their family tends to, distance them and just, they seem like the black sheep. They tempt the black sheep of the family, and people don't want to interact with them as much. Even in society, we treat them as though they're not human beings anymore. But these are the people who really need the support and care from society. Councillor Augustine, let's talk about that for a bit. How do we get to the point where people can actually sympathize or rather empathize with people who are hooked on drugs and treat them with care and love to help them get out of this, rather than just shove them aside?
Stigmatization has always been a problem in our society, where you are being termed as a bad egg in the society. You see, people don't see you as who you are supposed to be because of one thing or the other. When it comes to the issue of drug, nobody wants to identify with a supposedly criminal, because it's criminal, illegal to peddle drugs or carrying substance around by NDLEA. If you are caught, maybe just people tend to say, show me your friend and I will tell you who you are. But then this is a time where everybody needs to give this person support, draw them close to yourself, try to remove them from the environment they are. Because you cannot help someone and leaving this person in that same environment. Take for instance, someone is into maybe smoking marijuana outside there. And then the next thing is everybody from the house is pushing them away from themselves. They don't want them to come close. I don't want to associate with you because you are a smoker, because you've been termed as the bad egg in the family. What do you think will happen to this person? This person will definitely go back to the streets. You see, Madam said some persons were born in the street, but some got adopted into the streets because they've been pushed away from the family which is supposed to bring them close to themselves and see how they can help them to understand themselves, to free them of this emotional problem, because it's an emotional issues, psychosocial issues. Because if I don't relate well with my family, what do you think will happen? I'll fall into depression. And after falling into depression, where do you think this person will go to? Where they find solace is drugs. This person will never want to, in any way, go back out of this drug, because this person cannot go on his or her own. He needs that support. He needs that moral support, that family love. He needs that care. Everything that concerns him needs to be monitored by his family. He needs to be cherished. Sometimes people you see having all these issues, the first thing they tell you, I don't feel love from my family. I feel rejected. I feel isolated. That's why I think the only place I can find I can take solace, I can find peace is in drugs.
Councillor Richard, go ahead. Let's hear you.
Yeah, I want to come in there from the background of human development, okay? And you see, he mentioned something about parent need parenting. What about parents that are on drugs? Do you understand? And these children grow up to see mommy and daddy is into this. It's a normal thing. Probably their body mechanism has been able to sustain it. And this little young child can't carry it. Of course, you know, we said drugs is when you take something that is excessively more than what your body can carry illegally or even legally, but your body cannot carry it. So what about such parents? Those parents, so there is a time, a need for personal development, being able to rediscover yourself, being able to ask yourself why you are doing what you are doing. Is this thing you are doing, is it giving you, after the immediate pleasure, is it giving you an eternal fulfillment? Because there is nobody, there is no drug user that can, or abuser that can actually tell him or herself the truth that I have eternal fulfillment. It's not always. If not, you won't always want to look for it. There is a time when immediately you take it that time, few 5, 10 minutes, 1 hour, you get yourself. The next 2 hours, you start getting so agitated because your body cannot tolerate that level. Again, you need something more, and you keep adding and adding and adding and get there. So it's time for you to just come back. We are talking about the attitude we have towards those that are drug abusers. Our attitude is now that we are showing you love, but do you love yourself so much to also show yourself this love to come and unlearn the usage of drugs? Because there is nothing, I'm here talking about support, we are creating awareness, we are doing it. There's nothing we can do if you are not ready to take the first responsibility to accept that you need help. You need to rediscover yourself beyond drugs, beyond using drugs, because you were not born with drugs. So there is no way, even if you're born with your mommy, daddy, parent using drugs, your creation is beyond drugs. So you can actually come and rediscover yourself, to get yourself as a human being that was created by God or Allah, by your creator, and become the person that he created you to be.
Very
so
well
it's
said.
A process.
Very well said. I'm going to touch on quickly, looking at, we've mentioned the place of government in all of this, but there is the need for a lot of more awareness to be done. Now, these days, you go on social media and people actually promote, indirectly promotes the use of drugs. You see people make videos of, people that are under the influence, acting in certain ways, and they promote these videos, push these videos, it goes viral and people are laughing over it. This is a serious societal issue, and yet people make fun of it, somewhat promoting it. You have videos, you hear people say, Oncolos, and all those things, and people are laughing over these issues, and that's somebody who is suffering, who really needs help. It's like looking at somebody who's drowning, and rather than help them, you're filming them and laughing. It's just really sad. What can we do to, dissuade Nigerians, especially from these kinds of attitude? Like we're talking about the theme for this year's International Day Against Drug Abuse.
I think we need reorientation in our society as a whole, not just only on the aspect of drug, but because we are talking about the substance abuse, so I will focus mainly on that today. Reorientation in the sense that Nigeria needs to imbibe these values. That is where National Orientation Agency comes in. This awareness, we have to curtail some of the things we post on social media. I'm not saying they should regulate social media or so whatever it is, but sometimes, to some extent, these national issues, burning issues like the drug aspect, there are some certain things you don't do, like someone smoking and posting it on social media, all this kind of slang we hear on daily basis. We have to educate ourselves. It boils down back to us as a people, to educate ourselves, reorientate ourselves, tell ourselves that these things are gradually killing us. these are not just issues. These are not just normal jokes. These are not just normal comedy. But they are issues that are affecting our existence. They are affecting humanity. They are affecting our psychosocial behavior. They are affecting how we relate with one another. Because we can't continue in this aspect. People are dying day in, day out on the issue of drugs. And you can't keep promoting what is killing you. I take for instance, when people who are smoking, people who smokes, if you check the back of the cigarette, they write that smokers are liable to die young, but yet they still smoke.
They're very aware of what they're doing.
They are quite aware. So that is where the reorientation comes in. You have to tell yourself that this thing I'm doing to myself is not good. Some persons go to the extent of telling you, I have something that will cleanse my chest after smoking and all those things. They have all these things they deceive themselves with. It's not even smoking alone. We have other substances. Where do we go to? Imagine someone going as far as sniffing cow dung just to get high.
This is quite serious. Quite a serious one. Let's bring in everyone who's been listening. If you feel, jump in the conversation, join us and share thoughts with us. 09073530044 and 09087668888. Hello, good morning.
Hello, my friend, sir. Good morning, sir. Good morning to your guests.
Good morning to you. Welcome.
Yes, my name is Kim Bihundi, all the way from Nasarawa State. Yes, my friends, you see, the situation of today, really touches my heart because for we that stays in the ghettos today, what we see is only God Almighty that will have mercy, on our youth. My friends, we're talking about 15 years on. It's for 9 years. You see 9 years, the way they are smoking weed, my prince, it will amaze you. The way they are using substances, my prince, you cannot believe. As I was speaking, my family does not have a history of the youth smoking weed. But there's one of my auntie's sons. This guy surprised us, and we just lost our auntie like about 2 years ago. And there's a woman who has volunteered to take this guy in education. And I'm surprised that this guy was expelled from school. And when we asked why, they said this guy has been taking weed to the school and has been giving other students. And the family called a meeting. And all of us were telling ourselves, we do not have a history of smoking weed, in our family. So eventually we asked this guy, and the guy said he has been smoking weed since when he was 9. That the mother was not aware, that the father was not aware. Okay, the woman who has volunteered to sponsor this guy has removed her hand. That hence this guy is smoking weed and is giving other students that the school authorities, they were not happy about it. And if we see his behavior, it's different from every other person. The one thing is that even if we call them and talk to them, they will even see you, as an enemy. My prince. And there are some parents, in our area, there is one man. He used to send his children to go and buy weeds for him. This is not encouraging at all. How can a parent send his own child to go and buy weeds for him? What you are doing indirectly is that you are trying to train this child to take after you. And I want to lastly say that Mr. Buba Marwa, he has been doing very, very well. I think he has brought NDE into limelight. They have been fighting so much. But I want to say that I also know some of the officials who are also abusing this substance. Yes, there are some of the officials who also engage in it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Taken B, for sharing that one with us. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Now, I was going to ask, you see, he just brought something talking about their family and how the school had to expel that young chap. And, it seems like even the family not happy. The person who had decided to sponsor him, who had volunteered to sponsor, is also backing out. This is what we're talking about, discrimination and stigmatization. Now, in such a situation, what would you advise? Let's start with you, Councillor Rita. In this situation where, because we've also heard that some of these young people who get hooked on drugs is as a result of frustration, as a result of some level of depression. You know, the loss of a loved one can also lead people into substance abuse.
And peer pressures too. Peer pressures. We can't eliminate
Peer
that.
pressure really
Peer
really
pressure.
big these days.
So, but the focus of this year World Drugs Day is actually people first. That the idea of people first is like what the school did. I don't think they actually follow this focus, because the school would have actually looked for alternative way where this child could be helped. It's an adolescent, so it cannot still have control. A child that started from 9 years, so now the drugs are actually taking over all his body mechanisms, so he can't even tolerate it again. He's addicted now. It's high stage of addiction, because addiction have stages. So right now he has the highest stage of addiction. He need help, which he might not even know he needed, but the school can now be a support system to say, okay, where can I find medical center, at least medical center or mental health center, where this child can be given the first psychosocial help before they now take him to the medical aspect. Because the drugs, while treating drugs, you can treat the drugs in psychological part and also the medical part. They all work together. I remember where I was doing my, we call practicum. I did it in University Teaching Hospital, Port Harcourt, okay? So I worked directly with this clinical psychologist, and with all our wild experience. There was this drug addict that she was handling. They deported him from US to Nigeria because they couldn't tolerate again. But in Nigeria, thank God he met a right hand. This woman practically practicalized what this thing means. People first. She gave herself to this boy. And before our 6 weeks of practical, he started having himself. He was able to stay for more than 3 weeks without drugs. This was a child that a boy that could not stay for highest 1 hour. You see him agitated, you feel sorry for him. So that's the essence of people first. The love nature of human should be extended to these people. They are humans. They are souls. I talk about creation, you know, discovering yourself from your creation. So we should be able to show that love aspect and now provide help for them. That's the alternative means.
Very well.
Yeah.
Augustine, what do you see in this situation? You've worked with a lot of young people. What could have been done better to help the young kid?
Unfortunately, I don't know this school. I don't know what they felt, but the first thing to do was to seek for support from a professional. And when that is done, you see that this person, you're helping them. Okay, now chasing this person out of the school, what good have you done to the society? Nothing. You've pushed another.
Well, I'm sure the school was probably considering, oh, let's not allow this spread further. Since it's getting other kids involved, let's not have, more kids get involved with drugs. So, send this one away.
Okay, that is not even the best solution, because we have a lot of rehab centers around, available in almost every state, that can handle these issues. If the school cannot handle it on their own, they would have just quietly referred this person to where he will need help. Now you've chased this person out of the school. What is the help? No help. Now you brought another. He is going to pollute the larger environment, not just the little sphere which was the school, which was at least is controllable, but now the larger society. Did you know how many people he will have to draw to himself? Because now you're not helping him. He's not seeing support from anybody. He's not receiving help from anyone, because one, he's into drugs. The family have rejected him, because you rightly heard what the uncle said. He said he's the only one among the family that is into smoking of weed and all this thing. That is stigmatization, which is not helping this person. This person, the only thing that will happen to this person at this point in time, now the mother is not there. He might maybe falling into depression, or something else, or maybe is going through a lot of trauma that nobody knows about. A lot of people who go into these drugs are people who have been going through traumatic experiences. Ask yourself, why do some people go into drugs? If you start digging deep, you know that some of them were abused at an early stage. He said sometimes you see people going into drugs not because they actually want to, they just need that. That is where they get that feeling that I want to extrapolate myself from the society, the problems I'm facing. But it is not the best option. Drug is never an option. I don't think it should be. So the best thing the school would have done was to send this person to a rehab center where they can help these people, help this young boy. And at the end of the day, you see that you've saved a soul. And from this soul, you've been able to curtail the excesses of drug or substance abuse in the society.
Well said. Takeme also touched on, places we consider slums and ghettos. We'll be talking some more about stigma and discrimination, and also, strengthening prevention of drug abuse. Let's bring in another caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, Udokama.
Good morning to you again. Welcome.
Good morning. Ivanacho.
Sir.
I think school is not a rehabilitation center. So blaming the school for me is not fair. Because if I take my child to school, I should expect my child to learn something that kind of thing. For the school to send the guy out, I know that maybe taking this is not tell the story complete. They might give instruction or direct them where to go and solve the problem. So that is my take there.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much, Udokama. Rightly pointing out, the school is not a rehabilitation center. And also, let's go. Councillor Richard, how do you respond to that?
Yeah, nobody is blaming the school. We only suggested what the school would have done. The first thing, because we're talking about people first, the school would have referred this child to where the child would have gotten help. That's sending that child away. We are talking about stop stigma. So the issue of stigmatization has been it's rampant and become like a norm in Nigeria. So is the stigmatization that actually made most of drug users or abusers not to even speak out. So one of the awareness we are trying to create is them to be able to speak out. Because some of these children, they just meet up with their friends. This one is trying to challenge this person. Have you smoked before? I can smoke before. All this is started in school. And this one, I say, I've taken 10 sticks. This one that I've never taken any. You say, okay, try one, and he tried one. And the feeling he got, probably some of them went colo that time. Some of them just could not get themselves for some hours, and they now pretended back home. If there was no issue of stigmatization, if there was clear love and sincere love in the family, this child would be able to explain to whoever that was there, look at what my friend told me to do. Daddy, look at what I did. Mommy, look at what, or auntie, look at what I did. Or even tell the teacher, look at what I did. By then, they would have been able to capture that child without being into the abuse. Because the drug abuse does not just start now. You don't just start now and become an abuser. It starts gradually from one little substance to the next, and it becomes to the point that the body keep wanting for more. That's where it become an addiction. Okay, so if we can clear all this stigmatization, is a drug addict, is a smoker, is a drunkard, is this, is that, those name tagging, we can help these people to actually come out and seek help boldly and speak out. Because if they don't speak out, there is nobody that will wear this thing on the first to know, oh, this person is into drugs. Apart from that, we have been on the field and we are trying to see from experiences what they do. We are talking from the experiences, but you can't just see a drug. What if they finish and cleanse their system, they talk with you won't even perceive anything. So we should overcome this issue of stigma and help the
True then. Now let's talk about prevention. The theme for this year also talks about strengthening prevention. That's preventing people from getting into drug abuse in the first place. There's several things that Nigerians have to deal with as as Nigerians, there's a lot that people have to. There's a lot of pressure on people, and sometimes people just want to, escape the pressure, and they turn to drugs. Being very realistic now, there are lots of issues. Poverty has been linked to a lot of the drug abuse that we see, today. Economic reality. Someone is doing very well today, and tomorrow everything crashes. They're looking for a way to get by, and they turn to alcoholism or drugs, and that's just a way for them to. It's a coping mechanism for them. Rather than what other coping mechanisms can people adopt rather than falling back to drugs as a way of prevention? Augustine, I'm going to start with you.
Okay, if you remember when I said from the beginning, I said counseling is for everyone. Counseling is available for everyone, and it's very affordable and it's very open to everybody. We receive everybody without a condition. We care for you unconditionally. That is the aspect of counseling, that they don't even judge you like your family does. They don't even abuse you. They don't even stigmatize you. And another important part is the confidentiality aspect of it. If you really you are really struggling on how to maybe extract yourself from drug abuse, meet a counselor. Seek for help. That is the most important thing, because you can't help yourself. But the only thing you can do is to accept that I need help. As Councillor Rita rightly pointed out earlier, she said first is to acceptance that I need help. And once you accept that you need this help, meet a professional counselor, not your pastor. Your pastor is not a counselor, except maybe they have a degree in counseling. Meet a professional counselor who will help you, and a specialist for that matter, who will help you overcome this scourge of drug abuse.
No, but then people say, look, counseling costs money. To see a counselor costs money. To see a therapist will cost you money. So we're looking at people who do not have the means. All right, we're trying to be very, very realistic with the situation here. A person who doesn't have the means to pay a counselor to get therapy and all that, or get counseling, how do they go about surviving? Are we saying that all of this is left for people who can afford counseling?
Right. In a civilized country, everybody's supposed to have access to a counselor, just like everyone should have access to a medical doctor, But that's where I started from. I said the professional body called Counseling Association of Nigeria alone cannot actually do the work alone. The government needs to be there. The government needs to collaborate with us, because counseling costs money. Yes. Counseling costs money, just like any medical care costs money. Any health care costs money. And most of this health care has been subsidized by the government. So if government should add mental health and counseling as part of the health care that should be subsidized.
But we do know that there are health, mental health departments in the hospitals where people can actually get, should get mental health care at the general hospitals. Are Nigerians really aware that they are entitled to some level of mental health care, even at the general hospitals where they go to get physical health care?
Let me also come in there. Most of the mental health care, I visit most of this mental health care. Do you know, it's just now that some of them are creating space for a professional counselor, a clinical psychologist. Do you understand? Most of the hospital health facilities or organizations that have clinic inside their offices, check around. We've been checking around. I have been doing that. So I suggest to them, look, you need a counseling unit here. There are a lot of people that are in the hospital, they don't need drugs. Their mind is sick. They need to have redemption for their soul, for their mind to come back to life. But once your mind is sick, the body is sick. The body can go through all manner of all these activities. Like drugs that we are talking about now, do you know the drugs can come through behavior, can come through biologically, can come through mental health and all that. So it does not just start from one stage. So if the mind is sick, you talk about depression. If a child that is not loved or accepted in the family and now seek for love and acceptance outside, and they now expose this child to drugs, or the child now feel, oh, when I get drugged, I'm out of this world. The problem of the world is gone. But you come, the drug will clear off. You now still receive the problem of the world. So you need a counselor. What I'm saying is, every home need a counselor, every hospital, every government parastatal need a counselor. So it's time for us to start creating counseling units in all these places. We need it. So we also get to the communities because I'm also concerned about the communities that they can't have access to radio. Who is talking to them now? Okay, we are here going to school and talking, who is there? So it's a big work. And you mentioned about 14 point something billion of Nigeria are into drugs. We need to really come to the redemption of the country by helping people get the right information.
And,
and
on that aspect, you can see that Nigerian as a country, you see on the issue of counseling being everywhere. Everybody needs counseling, as she pointed out. Imagine the government creating an office for counselors where people who are into drugs, who really needs help, can walk in there, just like Legal Aid Council of Nigeria. If you need legal representation and you don't have money to get a lawyer, you can walk in there and then they will help you with a lawyer for legal representation. Why not bring it down to counseling? Because this is a mental health issue. This is something that is really affecting the society. So government needs to take proactive steps in setting up these agencies, this ministry, these parastatals for mental health awareness. And when you are setting up this, the association, that is the Counseling Association of Nigeria, has to be at the center of the whole thing to know how to put the manpower into place. Because a lot of times when you put most of these structures on ground, you bring in people who are not professionals. That's another thing. Then what do you do when you have a known professional in a particular field? So there's no help. So you have to bring in professionals who will man these parastatals or ministry or agencies of government where these people can easily accept help.
Very well said. What would be the final word as we close? We're wrapping up now. Councillor Rita, final thoughts on the show this morning.
All right. So whether you are a drug user, abuser, or you're addicted to drugs, you are special. We love you. That's why we are here. We are extending our hand of help to you. So come out, speak out, seek counseling. We have Counseling Association page on Facebook. FCT.
Councillor Rita, I'm going to bill you. If you continue like this, you're going to bill you.
It's free now. The Counseling Association loan is free.
It's free.
It's free.
People
Yes.
can get counseling for free.
For free.
For free.
For free.
Not my
Nigerians,
NGO.
you're listening.
No,
Nigerians, you're listening. That's a good one. Go
Yes,
ahead.
please.
If they can get this help for free, we'll offer it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Please, we have Counseling Association page, FCT Casson. Casson is spelled CASSON. So FCT Casson, just type it on Facebook. You go there. There are a lot of counselors there. You can meet any counselor you want to talk with. Okay. At least we have the first aid. You know, in Casson we have first aid.
Okay.
So the first aid is you have a counselor that can listen to you first. So if there is any other money, we can look for where we can fix ourselves.
Very good. Very good work as an association. And that's good stuff. We appreciate that one.
Okay.
Augustine, go ahead.
I want to tell you that we love you. The first thing is to always seek for help. Don't rely on yourself. Don't feel everybody is rejecting you. We are not rejecting you. We actually like people who are rejected in the society. We want to reform you. We want to transform you. We want to bring your spirit back. We know you have something good in you. If you are a drug user and you're listening to me at this moment, know that there's something inside of you that you can still achieve. You are not condemned. We love you.
Absolutely. What a great way to leave the conversation. You're not condemned. You're not left aside.